Almost everything you've ever heard about getting ready for retirement is about what to buy, what to save, or what to invest in. Nobody ever talks about what you should be getting rid of, but selling the right things and letting go of the right habits before you retire can free up real money, cut your monthly expenses, and take a genuine weight off your shoulders right as you're stepping into this new chapter. Today, I'm walking you through 5 specific things worth selling or cutting loose before you retire. And honestly, most people don't even realize number 3 is quietly costing them money every single month. This isn't about giving up things you love. It's about being honest with yourself about what's actually adding value to your life right now versus what's just sitting there out of habit. Let's get right into it. The first thing to take a hard look at is your house. A lot of people retire still living in the same home they raised their kids in. A home with 3 or 4 bedrooms that are mostly empty now, a yard that takes a full weekend to maintain, and a mortgage or property tax bill sized for a completely different stage of life. That house made sense when it was full of people and full of activity. It doesn't always make sense once it's just you or you and a spouse rattling around in all that space. Selling an oversized home and moving into something smaller can free up a significant amount of equity all at once. Money that can go straight into your retirement savings or your monthly income, while also lowering your ongoing costs for utilities, maintenance, property taxes, and insurance. It's not just about the money either. Less house usually means less physical upkeep, fewer repairs to deal with, and more time and energy for the things you actually want to be doing in retirement instead of mowing a lawn you don't need or cleaning rooms nobody uses. A smaller place, whether that's a condo, a single-story home, or something in a community built for retirees, can also mean less physical strain as you get older, no stairs to worry about, less yard work on your knees, and a layout that's easier to live in for the long haul. The second thing, and this one is less about an object and more about a habit, is continuing to financially support your adult children at the expense of your own retirement. This one is hard to hear because it comes from love, not carelessness. But covering a grown child's car payment, helping with their rent every month, or bailing them out of financial trouble again and again can quietly drain the exact savings you're going to need for yourself in 10 or 20 years. Airlines tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first for a reason, and retirement works the same way. If you run out of money later in life, your adult children are not in a position to fully support you either, and you could end up creating a much bigger burden for the whole family down the road instead of a smaller one now. This doesn't mean cutting off your kids or stopping love and support entirely. It means having an honest conversation about what you can actually afford to give without putting your own retirement at risk, and sticking to that number even when it's uncomfortable. Sit down and figure out exactly how much you can give without it cutting into what you need for yourself. Write that number down and treat it like any other fixed expense in your budget instead of something that quietly stretches a little more every time your child asks. The third thing, and this is the one that surprises people the most,
Number
is a
3,
boat,
a
an
boat or
RV,
an
or
RV.
any other big
These
recreational
large
item
lifestyle
that isn't
purchases
getting used
can
the way
become
you imagined
expensive
it would.
financial
When
burdens.
people buy these, they picture weekends out on the water or long road trips every summer. And sometimes that really does happen. But a lot of the time, life gets busy, or health changes, or the upkeep turns out to be a lot more than expected, and that boat or RV ends up sitting in storage most of the year while you're still paying for that storage, the insurance, and the maintenance every single month. This is the one I said is quietly costing people money without them even fully realizing it. Because those costs don't show up as one big bill, they trickle out little by little, month after month, and it's easy to lose track of just how much it adds up to over a year. If you genuinely use it often, that's a different conversation. And there's nothing wrong with keeping something that's actually part of your daily life and brings you real enjoyment. But if it's been sitting more than it's been used, selling it before you retire can free up real cash and stop that slow monthly drain for good. And there's an emotional side to this too. That's worth being honest about. A lot of people hold on to these big items because of what they represent, the trips they imagine taking, the version of retirement they pictured. But if it's genuinely just sitting there, selling it isn't giving up on that dream. It's freeing up money and energy to actually go do the things you want to do, whether that's traveling a different way, spending time with grandkids, or simply not worrying about one more monthly bill. The
Number
fourth thing
4,
worth
an
selling
extra
is an
vehicle.
extra vehicle. A lot of
An unused
households
car is an
end up
unnecessary
with two or
expense
three
that
cars over
drains
the
retirement
years,
money through
one for
ongoing
commuting,
costs.
one for the kids, maybe one that's mostly just sitting in the driveway at this point. Once you retire, you're not commuting anymore. And if it's just you and a spouse, there's a good chance you genuinely don't need every vehicle you currently own. Every car you keep costs you money, whether you drive it or not, insurance, registration, maintenance, and it loses value just sitting there. Selling an extra vehicle does two things at once. It puts a chunk of money back in your pocket right away, and it lowers your ongoing costs for the rest of your retirement. If you're on the fence, take a look at how many miles you've actually put on that second car over the last year. If the answer is not many, that's usually a pretty clear sign. Add up what you're spending on it annually, insurance, registration fees, oil changes, maybe a parking spot, and compare that to what the car is actually worth if you sold it today. A lot of people are surprised once they actually do that math on paper instead of just going with their gut feeling about it. And it's not just about the money either. Fewer cars usually means less upkeep to think about, one less thing on your plate during a stage of life where the whole point is having less to manage, not more. The fifth thing, and this one can honestly make the biggest difference of
Number
the five
5,
for some
a
people,
concentrated
is a
stock position.
concentrated stock
This
position.
represents having too
This
much
usually
money in
happens
one
with people
investment,
who worked at one
like a
company
single
for a
basket
long
with many
time
eggs.
and built up a large amount of stock in that single company, sometimes through a retirement plan, sometimes through stock options or bonuses over the years. Having a lot of your money tied up in one company can feel comfortable, especially if it's a company you know well and believe in. But it also means your retirement is riding heavily on how that one company performs instead of being spread out across a range of different investments the way most financial advisors would generally recommend. If that one company hits a rough stretch right as you're relying on that money, it can seriously affect your retirement at exactly the wrong time. Selling off some of that concentrated position and spreading the money across a more diversified mix of investments can meaningfully lower your risk heading into retirement. Now, there can be tax consequences to selling stock that's grown a lot in value. So this is another one worth talking through with a financial advisor or tax professional first, so you can spread out the selling in a way that makes sense for your tax situation instead of doing it all at once. Think of it this way. You spent your career trusting that one company to pay you a salary. You don't necessarily need to also trust it to fund your entire retirement, especially once you're no longer there to see the day-to-day decisions being made. So here's what ties all five of these together. Retirement isn't just about how much you've saved. It's about how much of your money is actually working for you instead of quietly draining away on things or habits you don't need to be carrying anymore. An oversized house, ongoing financial support that's stretching your own savings thin, a boat or RV mostly parked in storage, an extra car sitting in the driveway, or too much money tied up in one company's stock. All five of these can be holding you back without you fully realizing it, simply because they've been part of your life for so long that you stopped questioning whether you still need them. Going through this list doesn't mean selling everything all at once, and it definitely doesn't mean rushing into decisions without thinking them through carefully. Some of these, especially the house and the stock, deserve a real conversation with a professional who knows your full financial picture, whether that's a financial advisor, a real estate agent who understands the local market, or a tax professional who can walk you through the numbers. But even just going through this list, honestly, and asking yourself which of these five actually still serves you can uncover real money and real peace of mind before you step into retirement. A lot of people spend so much time focused on what they need to save up that they never stop to look at what they're still holding on to or still giving away that isn't helping them anymore. Clearing that out is just as much a part of getting ready for retirement as building up your savings in the first place. Think about it this way. Every dollar tied up in something you don't use, or every dollar going out the door to cover something you don't actually need to be covering, is a dollar that isn't working for the retirement you're trying to build. Freeing that up doesn't just help your bank account, it takes a real weight off your mind. And that peace of mind is worth just as much as the money itself when you're heading into this new chapter of your life. If any of these five hit close to home, that's a good sign. It's worth taking a closer look at your own situation. Start with whichever one feels the most obvious to you, whether that's the car you barely drive or the boat that's been sitting in storage, and go from there. You don't have to tackle all five overnight, but even knocking out one of them can make a real difference in how your retirement budget feels from month to month. Take a weekend, sit down with a notepad or a spreadsheet if that's more your style, and go through your own version of this list. You might find one or two of these don't apply to you at all, and that's perfectly fine. But you might also find one that's been quietly sitting there for years, costing you money and taking up mental space, simply because nobody ever asked you the question of whether you still need it. That one conversation with yourself or with your spouse, if you're going through this together, can end up being one of the most valuable things you do before you officially retire. If this video helped you, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really does help this channel reach more people just like you. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to Tony Talks Finance, because I'm going to keep breaking down simple, honest ways to help you get the most out of your retirement. Drop a comment and let me know which one of these five you're going to look at first. I read every single one. Thanks for spending this time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.